Mrs. Dernball, Dr. Graff, Mr. Peters, Megan Sparks.
Here. Of the agenda as presented, please. So,
Second.
can I have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Dernball? Yes. Dr. Graff, Mr. Peters, Megan Sparks.
Yes.
The Board of Education recognizes the value to school governance of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express themselves on school matters of community interest. The presiding officer of each board meeting at which the public participation is permitted shall administer the following rules of the board. The portion of the meeting for participation of the public shall be limited to 30 minutes. Attendees must register with their intent to participate and sign up sheet 30 minutes prior to each meeting. Individuals may not register others to speak, and no participant may speak more than once. Participants must first be recognized by the presiding officers and will be requested to preference their comments by an announcement of their name and whether the participant is a resident or non-resident, and if appropriate, their group affiliation. Each statement made by the participant shall limit to 3 minutes or less. The board will listen to all who speak, but generally do not engage in discussion or dialogue at this time. Matters require follow-up will be directed to the superintendent. And it looks like we have one speaker, Waverly Earhart. Sorry, yes, please come up to the podium.
Hi, good evening. My name is Wavy Earhart, and I have a granddaughter who attends school here in Centerville. And I have come tonight to ask permission to say a prayer over the school of Centerville, the students, and to thank the school board for all you're doing for our students, their families. And we have 5 grandchildren. 4 of them are school age. They are attending different schools in the area. And this is the assignment that I've had placed on my heart to come and ask permission to pray. Okay. Thank you. If you would bow your heads with me. Heavenly Father, we ask for your divine protection over all our schools, students, teachers, and staff. Place a hedge of protection around our school buildings, classrooms, and hallways. Guard our children's minds, hearts, and bodies from all harm and distraction. Give wisdom to the students as they learn and to the teachers as they lead. Provide our administrators and decision makers with discernment and quick thinking. Grant peace to our school community and surround them with your presence. In the name of Jesus, we rebuke every spirit of fear, violence, and evil that seeks to harm our schools. We declare that no weapon formed against them shall prosper, and that all evil plans will be halted. Remind us that you have not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, and we will not be afraid, but take comfort in your promises. Lord, fill our schools with your peace that surpasses all understanding. Remind us that you are near even when we face challenges. May your love and truth take root in the hearts of our students. Help them to trust you with their lives and know that you have a plan for each of them. Give them favor and grace and help them to excel in their studies and in life. We ask that you send your warring angels to watch over and guard and shield every student and worker in our schools. Be a refuge and strength and a very present help in trouble. We commit our schools to you and we thank you in advance for your protection and guidance throughout the school year. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Thanks.
Next is board and administrative reports. First is legislative reports by Dr. Graff.
You don't want to touch it. I'll just leave it sit there. It's fine. Good evening. The Ohio General Assembly is returning this week. They were supposed to come back. The Senate was supposed to come back last week, but the meetings were canceled due to the weather. The House Education Committee is going to meet this Wednesday. Senate Education has not rescheduled their meeting from the 27th just yet. So we're going to start with a follow-up to discussions in December. The governor did go ahead and sign the following bills into law on December 19th. They will go into effect on March 20th of this year. Most notably, the property tax bills that we've talked about a few different times, including House Bill 335, which caps the tax growth on the inside millage to an inflationary indicator in the years of reappraisal. House Bill 186 is a similar cap to tax growth to inflation. Inflationary indicators for districts that are on the 20 mil floor with a retroactive tax credits to the families. House Bill 309 is the one that allows the county budget commissions to reduce millage on certain voter approved levies. And then the governor issued kind of some guidance along with that on encouraging school districts to work with their county budget commissions and start to kind of build those relationships as we move forward. And then House Bill 129 included additional levy types in the 20 mil floor. Outside of the property tax legislation, he also enacted or signed into law House Bill 10, which was the artificial meats and egg product prohibition. House Bill 114, which changes the age requirement for kindergarten registration, so they have to be 5 by the first day of school for that district each year. So this year just came out, I think, today or yesterday, that it's August 12th, they have to be 5. And then House Bill 184 had a lot of different cleanup language for education, but not a ton that was directly relevant to us. Other legislation that is moving and worthy of being monitored, House Bill 42 is one that has been around the General Assembly since early, but started to see some movement in November with its third hearing. This is related to a requirement for lots of different entities to report citizenship data. The part that impacts education. So current continuing law requires the Department of Education workforce to establish and maintain a statewide education management information system. This bill would then require the following data to be maintained in that system, and districts would have to put that in by January 31st each year. The number of students who are U.S. citizens or nationals, the number of students who are not U.S. citizens or nationals, but are lawfully present in the U.S., disaggregated by specific immigration status, and the number of students who are not lawfully present in the U.S. I do think it's important just to note that the Supreme Court has held that under the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, states may not deny undocumented children access to education, public education. And so in today's world, this certainly raises a lot of concerns for those in education who are concerned about the safety and well-being of students who are needing to come to school and what this could do. There are lots of organizations out there that are requesting people to reach out. There are some calls for school boards to pass resolutions asking their legislators not to move this bill forward. So this is one that is out there that will probably see some movement when they return. One newly introduced piece of legislation that our local Senator Willis Blackshear introduced last week, that our state board reps, I'm hoping, are going to get a little excited about, is Senate Bill 333. It would create the statewide youth council in the office of the governor. And basically, this would be a council of students, 20 students from across the state. They would fill out an application and then be appointed by the governor's office. They would serve a 2-year term, meeting at least twice a month. It would be a public entity, but they have put in this bill that virtual meetings would be an option for this particular group since there would be students across the state. Students have to be between 14 and 18. And this committee would, or this council would basically report to the governor and the General Assembly about issues and legislation impacting Ohio youth. So I just, as our students have advocated for House Bill 304 and the PE waiver with some success, although we need to get kind of back on it to keep that moving this year and hopefully get it passed. This may be another one to champion because it could really help our youth have a say at the State House. Additional newly introduced legislation that's kind of hot off the presses in the last couple days. House Bill 643 would limit Ed Choice vouchers to families with a federally adjusted gross income of less than $500,000 a year. It should be noted that these are the families that are already receiving the smallest amount of the education choice scholarship possible. So the actual impact to the voucher expenditure may not be all that significant. Senate Bill 335 would make Election Day a state holiday called Democracy Day. Senate Bill 341 does have bipartisan support. This is a bill that would eliminate the ability of 17-year-old girls to be married. It would say that both parties must be 18 years old and repeal an old law that stays on the books. And then just today, there was this article in the Ohio Capitol Journal that I think is worth taking a look at. And I can't find the actual resolutions just yet that she mentions, but it's bipartisan, or it's resolutions out of both houses to, or both chambers to support the federal government in dismantling the Department of Education. The article itself has a lot of interesting information and different points of view on it, so it's worth reading and trying to decide maybe where you lie on that issue. That's what the article looks like, and it's from the Ohio Capitol Journal. And then the House Education Committee agenda for this week has these pieces of legislation on it. House Bill 500 is moving along. This will be its third hearing, which would allow a junior ROTC program to be designated a career tech ed program. House Bill 189 is interesting. This is developed by the Department of Public Safety and ODU to develop this statewide behavioral threat assessment program. And I'd be interested to hear what people think about it, just because it's kind of developing this threat assessment program, and they outline who needs to be on the threat assessment team. It's for students who have identified as being a behavioral threat. And then it kind of outlines this process that has to be followed. And there seems to be some privacy concerns in there, and there are lots of pieces and parts to it. So that'll be one to keep an eye on and hear some feedback on. And then 545 is to try to improve school busing. This has big expenditures with it. So $38 million just in transportation costs, and then an additional $50 million in fiscal year 27 out of the state budget for school bus purchasing grants for districts. House Bill 523 was introduced a while back, but it's going to get its first hearing. This is the Enact the Future Educator Support Act, which would allow districts the opportunity to pay student teachers an hourly wage, and it offers some opportunities for tuition reduction for certain fields where there is a shortage. So it could potentially help encourage and support those who are going into teaching. House Bill 594 would require students to complete a high school computer science course. Senate Bill 19 has gone through the Senate, is now coming into the House to move through the second chamber. This is Senator Brenner's Mathematics Improvement and Intervention Plans, which is expected to go through. And then I had reached out to Mr. Carroll and Mr. Wesney earlier because of this House Bill 661. So this is related to the name, image, and likeness discussions that have been going on at OHSAA. Recently, and so there was kind of a vote in that organization and a lot of decisions and discussion there. And then House Bill 661 is being introduced and potentially being heard at this meeting, which basically just says it would bar middle or high school athletes from earning compensation from name, image, and likeness. So directly kind of the opposite of what our local athletic association, state athletic association, has decided. So it was just an interesting thing to see that I don't know that I had anticipated. Here are our local legislators. If you would like to reach out to them, as always, please speak up, let your voice and your story be heard. And I anticipate we're going to see a lot more activity coming in the coming weeks as the legislature gets back. Thank you, Dr. Grubb.
Career education programming, Mr. Tro.
Good evening. I'm excited to share with our public this evening that Centerville High School will be bringing on a new career technical education program next school year that I think we believe really is a win-win-win for our students, our school, and our community. Sorry. To turn on the clicker for it to work. Just a quick reminder that all high schools in the state of Ohio are required to offer career technical education to high school students, and many schools elect to partner with career tech centers. Montgomery, like in Montgomery County, many schools elect to work with the Miami Valley Career Tech Center, which is located in Inglewood. But in the 70s, so we're going on almost 50 years of our partnership in our compact, but in the 70s, Centerville City Schools partnered with Kettering and Oakwood to develop the Career Compact, which basically allows Centerville, Kettering, and Oakwood students to participate in career technical education between Centerville High School and Kettering High School. Oakwood sends us some of their students. And in those programs, we offer nearly 20 different programs. There is some overlap between what Centerville and Kettering offer, but we reserve seats in our unique programs for students from other schools. And really what that does is that saves us from sending students all the way up the other corner of the county in Inglewood. I believe that was probably part of the decision back in the 50s, but provides quite a bit of access for our students. A couple other notes on just career education in general. We do have about 500 students here at Centerville High School that participate in their junior and senior year in our career technical education program. Some of the benefits of that are that any students that complete that programming are eligible for $1,500 a year for their first 2 years out of high school in scholarship money to Sinclair. And for students who don't elect necessarily to go to Sinclair, maybe they attend other universities, they are still offered, and I know students, some that live in my household, that took advantage of the buy one, get one credits for 2 years after graduation at Sinclair. So maybe they go to the University of Dayton or Ohio State. If they're back here in the summer, they can participate in some reduced credits at Sinclair. I think it's also just worth noting that this is one of the few things that we offer that actually brings in revenue from the state and federal programs. About approximately $250,000 annually helps offset our costs for career technical education. And the last piece that I'll state before I get into what our program is that, you know, by electing to have the compact here, we're able to run our programming for roughly 10% of what it would cost taxpayers for us to partner with the Career Tech Center. So it's a great savings for our community, and it's a great opportunity for our kids. So on to the program that we're going to be offering next year at Centerville High School. We will be phasing in an allied health program. We chose to focus on allied health for a number of reasons. One, it's an in-demand profession in the state of Ohio and in our region. We will be offering what's called a patient care technician certification through that program, and phlebotomy certification for all students that go through that. These are both high demand positions in again the region. Not only are these high demand, but it's a very popular field for students to go into. We follow our graduates beyond about 6+ years beyond high school graduation. We know that along with business, health sciences have the highest completion rate for degree attainment of our alumni. In addition to that, we have real-time information about our students through U Science. That's an assessment that our students here at the high school take. Health sciences are very popular. Currently we have about 750 students who have indicated interests and aptitudes in those fields. So one of the exciting pieces to this is that we will be transitioning one of our health and PE teachers to support this program and teach this program. So there is no additional staff needed for us to bring this program on. And we're in the middle of our recruitment for our career technical education programs for next year. And Mr. Sutman shared with me today, we have twice as many applications than we can fill seats. So there's interest, and we have applicants, and we didn't anticipate having any issues, and that's starting to play out. for students who maybe don't get into this program, we are considering offering an elective where students could potentially get a phlebotomy certification, et cetera, just not participate in the block. So we're exploring that. We think that's a possibility. And we had a very productive meeting with our partners, with Premier Health and other supporting partners through our advisory councils, through our career technical education program, and they're looking to help support us with equipment and supplies. So we're working through that right now, but we're excited to be able to offer this. Again, we think that this is win-win-win. I think I just want to close with part of, if there are questions about why we're doing this, it wasn't too long ago that the Ohio Department of Education became the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce, and it was very purposeful that schools. The state believes that schools and communities need to do more of what we call sometimes a hard handoff, right? Getting students directly connected to that workplace, potentially after school, making sure that we're building those stronger bridges. And you can see that in the accountability measures that they are putting on schools. As example, the college career workforce and military readiness component is an accountability measure on our state report card, asking the question, how well are we providing these types of programs? And as I tried to lay out in the very beginning here, we are equally interested in that. We want to make sure that our alumni are getting connected to college, careers, workforce, military. So we see this as an opportunity, and we believe, because our career education program is a fiscally responsible decision, that adding this program, no need to add additional staff. It is a win-win-win for everyone. So
This, in addition, I think 4 or 5 years ago, we added a program in conjunction with Sinclair. I'll get the letter wrong.
STNA.
STNA.
Our state tested nursing assistant. Technically, the STNA program is Sinclair's program, where what we've been able to capitalize on is having the Clio campus right down the road and accessible to our students. And so that's Sinclair's class. It's a College Credit Plus course that is Sinclair's been offered there. We were able to work with them to schedule, to try to make it work with student schedules here at the high school so they could manage traveling there. But technically, it's their program. It is College Credit Plus, and it's a semester class. It's been successful, but it's not. It doesn't. Sinclair really can only take about 12 students a year, so this would double.
The interest that we're seeing here isn't pulling from that. It's two different pools of students that are interested. It's adding to that rather than pulling from that program.
Yeah, I think we have a number of programs here that feed allied health interests, and this would be a pretty, it's going to be 2 periods a day for 2 years. It's pretty intensive program. The STNA program allows students to do that maybe just in their senior year in the afternoon, freeing them up maybe to do more potential placement in the workforce, because a lot of times students in their second semester of their senior year are 18. So that's a little bit of the vision for that. I think it's a little of the vision for this, but we would start in their junior year, and it would be less compacted as far as the curriculum goes.
Great, thank you.
Anything else? Thanks so much.
Side P, study, please.
So, good evening, everyone. Tonight, it's kind of exciting for us to be able to talk to you about our classified pay study and really just share some information about some of the work that's been taking place behind the scenes. We have worked really hard to look at and review our classified pay schedules. That is something that I've shared with the board as one of our goals to accomplish. We've been working on that tonight. We get the opportunity to share some of this with you, and we've shared some of this with you already in our work session. So in the presentation, you're going to hear us talk about some of our things that we've outlined, our commitment to our classified staff, why we got into looking at this as a goal of the study, process that we went through to get to the decision that we've made and the results that we're going to be able to share with you tonight. And then Laura will follow up a little bit with the financial impact and the next steps. So the commitment to our classified staff, we felt like it was important when we went through the the levy campaigns back in November, and we passed. And getting to that opportunity to pass, we renegotiated our contract. And in that contract that we're currently in, we negotiated a 0% increase that was for all certificated and administrative staff. That also carried over to our classified staff as well. During that time, once the levy was passed in November 2024, we made a promise that we would go back and review our classified pay schedules. And you're going to see some of the information tonight in some of those schedules and consider some of the adjustments based upon those comparisons. And so I think you'll see some differences in our presentation based upon some of our pay schedules. Going into this year, we looked at extending, and with the board approval, we extended our contract for the 26-27 into 27-28 and 28-29 with a 3.3% increase for all three of those years. That would impact certificated, administrative, and our classified folks as we move forward. So again, the goals of the study, we wanted to be consistent with our schedule structure. I've shared, we've narrowed down our current salary schedule from 41 pages down to, I believe, like 15 to 16. We've been able to fit all of them on, which will be a lot more accurate, I think, for people to look at and view. We looked at our competition within the region and looked at some regional comparisons. Again, I mentioned condensed the number of schedules. We also looked at longevity structure, making it similar to our certificated staff scale, and looking at the fact that we had to put in a plan that would be sustainable and affordable to our operating costs for the district. So the process to get there, we looked at the four districts that you see here on the screen: Kettering, Springboro, Beaver Creek, and Miamisburg. We specifically targeted those local districts, even though we may have classified folks that may drive from maybe Lakota area or maybe as far north as Northmont. But we felt like our competition, if you will, was really with Kettering and Springboro and Beaver Creek, Miamisburg schools when it comes to hiring classified staff. And when we did the study, we noticed that all positions aren't the same. So obviously a bus driver is a bus driver, and that's pretty comparable amongst districts. But you get into some unique positions where, there might be a certain classroom aide that might have a separate title. And so we tried to condense and make a fair comparison looking at all those staffing positions. The idea for us was to compare Centerville to the average and looking at staffing trends and really looking at those hard to fill positions. There are some positions that we have in the district that we fill very easily in those classified positions, and we have areas where we struggle to get bus drivers, for example, is a prime example of a position that we have a hard time filling. Either bus drivers, Mr. Kogo will tell you, that also extends to our custodians and getting good quality people in to those positions to do the work. So as the results that we're able to share tonight and to talk with the board about is looking at consistent schedule structure with steps and longevity. If you would look at our old scale, you would notice that we have some groups or classifications where there's no steps at all, or there's only 2 steps, or you may have classifications may have up to 15 steps before they hit any longevity. Schedule adjustments to bring classified pay closer to the regional comparisons. So really we tried to do a market adjustment, looking at the average of those 4 districts. Our goal was never to get our pay above those competing districts, but at least make it competitive and get closer to the average of those 4 districts I mentioned. And of course, making sure that it's sustainable and affordable for the district. And as moving forward, our plan is to share that each employee will receive a minimum of 3.3% increase as promised through the board resolution back in August. And so that all is applied to the scales that we're going to ask you to approve tonight. So the next slide has to do with financial impact.
So we're going to talk at our work session in February a lot more in depth on finances because I'm going to then at the regular meeting in February. This was obviously rescheduled from January, but at our regular meeting in February, we're going to approve the next updated financial forecast, which is due to the ODEW by the end of February. So I'm not going to get into lots of information about revenue and things like that tonight because we're going to dive into that in a couple of weeks. But what I wanted to share with you, because again, we've studied the financial impact of what we're asking you to approve tonight. And in the bottom section there where it says October forecast, you can see that was our surplus or deficit line item, and then the cash balance that was associated with each of the fiscal years. That included the 3.3%. Because again, that we board approved that back in August. That financial forecast that you see at the bottom section was not board approved until October. So the 3.3% was already factored in to the numbers that we're starting with. So the impact of implementing these new salary schedules with market adjustments, you can see in that top section. And so it doesn't change the trajectory of our financial picture. It does lower the cash balance, obviously, and it does make us deficit spend a little bit more as we get out into those years. But in terms of our total budget, the impact is relatively minor, and we do feel very strongly that this is affordable and sustainable for the district. So to talk about the next steps, we have a classified meeting scheduled for Thursday afternoon with as many of the classified people that we can pull in here to Centerville High School. There's also a meeting Friday morning, I believe, with the transportation department because they're usually out driving routes, at the time. So we're offering two options there for people to get to. The study and getting the schedules approved, hopefully by you tonight, was kind of phase one of this project. Now we're going to have to go and apply all of it. And so we're going to have to evaluate all of our employees for proper placement on the new schedules. And we have about 450 people that we're going to be pulling their files and looking at. And so the treasurer's office and the human resources department, along with then various department people like, Olivia in Student Nutrition Services, and Mr. Kogel is going to be involved in that. Andy Trick at Transportation. Like, there's going to be a lot of people looking at all of this information to make sure that we get everyone placed in the appropriate place based on the years that they've been in Centerville and then also the years that they've been doing their job. Because sometimes those don't line up, especially for classified staff. You have people that move classifications. A custodian might become a maintenance person, or, an office para might become a secretary or whatever. So there's lots to look at in this that we want to just evaluate and make sure that everything is on the up and up. And then we have to then, again, technical, right? We have to get into our computer system that we've just set up and we have to redo all of our pay schedules. And so, and all of this needs to be done by June because that is when on your board agenda you see all of the classified staff for approval. We do administrators in April, we do the certified staff in May, and we do classified staff in June. And that's the cycle every year. And so, so we have a lot of work now in what I'm calling phase two with my staff. It's like, okay, we're into phase two now. And then the last thing I just listed on here is just this idea of understanding that this is kind of a new structure and, a new system. And we've done a great job, I believe, of modeling the data. But until we really get into it, we may have to come back to you for tweaks or revisions. And so I hope that's not the case. But just putting that on your radar tonight that it could come back to you just for small adjustments here or there. So, like I said, I'm not anticipating that, but that's always a possibility. Anything you want to add to that? No. Any questions?
No questions. I just want to say, kudos to you. Excuse me, you and your teams. I know it's been a huge undertaking that has been talked about for years. Mm-hmm. And it looks like we're finally getting there. So yes, good job.
Thank you.
Item is board policy.
So I'm just going to stay here because I have another presentation with Katie here in just a few minutes. But on the agenda, We talked about our cell phone policy, personal communication devices. We've had several communications. We talked at our work session back in January about changing, amending the policy. Again, we did that in the fall when some of the changes came out. But essentially, the new policy would really make it consistent across the district. What we currently have in place is for our elementary and middle school students, they can't have their phones with them during the instructional day at all. But this is the second reading. We had a discussion about taking out the high school piece and just combining it into one, which is actually be K through 12. In our work session in January, we talked about the principal authorizes some discussion with amongst the team, the group, about maybe we should have a teacher or a staff member listed there. And so I did reach out to Neola and had a conversation, and we felt like principal would be the best person there, even though the policy talks about in an emergency situation, students could still have access because their phones would be in their book bag or close to them, that they can make an emergency call if need be in an emergency setting. So the reason the principal is still listed there, it just prevents a staff member just making a decision without building principal knowing that they're using the cell phone in class for a certain reason. The staff would have to, get prior permission from the principal, and I think that's an appropriate action for them to take from a classroom setting if they're doing a special project from that standpoint. So that would be our second reading to make the change. This policy is on the board for approval tonight, and just wanted to see if there was any questions from the board.
So, just so I understand, Neola is still saying that our existing policy meets the law, and the recommendation to change the policy is not coming from Neola.
It's coming from us, and so I think that's a great question. We do meet the letter of the law. It gets a little confusing because there's a lot of definitions between what is defined as instructional time. So right now in the district, kids cannot have their phones while in the classrooms during instructional time, but we have allowed it for class exchange, even at lunchtime when kids could have access to them. But this would eliminate that opportunity to have kids to have their phone during class exchange, in between class periods, and at lunch.
And obviously, students that are able to leave campus for lunch, there's no, they have their phones because they have access to them off campus. So my understanding was 2 weeks ago, pre-snowstorm, that Mr. Carroll was going to continue doing some research. He had implemented this at the high school under the guise of a handbook change, and was going to kind of get back to us on how that was going. He is not in attendance tonight. Do you have any feedback on how that has been implemented at the school, if they're running into any issues, excessive exceptions, excessive infractions, things like that?
I don't have an update, and I haven't heard. I mean, last week I think was obviously with the snow coming in and being out, but I haven't heard anything either positive or negative on how it's going moving forward.
Well, my concern remains that we're changing it. We're making it so restrictive that, if a month or so goes by and, let me rephrase, as it stands now, high school has the ability to make those changes as necessary under our current policy. And if we change it and they decide, lunch would be a good idea, or I don't know, lunch is the most obvious one, then we have made this policy so restrictive that the only way to do that is to come to us with yet another policy change. I disagree with that being the process for this.
I'm not so sure there'd be another policy change. I know the goal in having conversations with Mr. Carroll all along was to be able to have the time to talk with students, share with them why this is being changed, why it's being updated, to educate our students so that there's not all of a sudden a lot of infractions where kids are in trouble for having their phone, but an opportunity to teach and have kids learn over a process of time versus, just a hard stop on the use of the phones. And I know that has already taken place. A lot of those conversations have happened, and they're taking place with the students and with the staff here. over the last couple of weeks.
Okay.
Any other questions? So tonight, I don't have a slide, but you do have a handout in front of you. This is just information I wanted to share with the board because we have missed so many days. Last week, we've missed a lot of days so far this year, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. But I'm hoping to have maybe a further conversation with the board at our work session in February. But I just want to kind of go through this with you. So the very top portion is just a chart. It shows our grade levels. You have seen probably in some social media posts or some posts from other districts in regards to the number of hours that they have within their schedule. So you can see our preschool hours, for example, the state requirement is 360 hours. The current calendar in hours for us is about 375. Now, when I say current, there's a star there. That reflects the reduction for the days and hours that we've already closed and missed. So that means projecting forward, those are the number of hours that we'd be expected to hit or we would hit if we don't miss any more days in the future. So preschool is one area to look at as an example. If you look at our seniors, that's another area to look at where we fall close, but not necessarily short because we allow seniors time to release early prior to graduation. So those are always the two categories that we keep a close eye on. And sometimes we run close on hours for those groups. So other considerations that I just wanted to share as part of our negotiated agreement with the Teachers Association, we've kind of kept in calamity days versus the hours, which I think gets a little bit confusing. That's why I want to just kind of bring this to you tonight. And hopefully we can talk more about this at the work session at the end of the month. But calamity days, like the traditional calamity days, would be the first 5. And then once we get past 5, that 6th day would be a day that we would make up, moving forward. It's been a long time since we've had a makeup days based upon our master agreement and looking at our schedule. So far this year, we've missed 4 full days and had 4 2-hour delay days. Going back to last year, I think we missed 2 full days and had 1-hour delay. And the year before that, 2 2-hour delays and 1 closing. So we've almost doubled the number of days, if you will, whether it's either being out a full day or have missed because of a 2-hour delay. And so essentially, I wanted to just kind of bring that calamity day to you that's in our master agreement. So right now, if you look at the scenarios at the bottom, we have not hit the 5th day. I'm hoping we don't hit the 5th day, which would be the 5th calamity day. The 6th day would mean by our contract, we would look up having a makeup day. Usually those days are added on to the end of the calendar, or we look at in-service days that we have on the calendar. So we could repurpose the April 24th workday with our staff, where students would be in attendance. We have plenty of time to maybe communicate that worst case scenario, if we miss additional days, that could be used as a makeup day. If we would happen to get to day 7, we could repurpose the May 29th day, which is the last day. Our underclassmen or the students are out on the 28th and our staff come back on the 29th as a work day. We could use that as a potential makeup day and maybe extend the senior schedule so that on the 21st to make sure that they meet the hours and requirements necessary. So anything beyond that, if we looked at trying to add minutes to the day to get back to the hours as a possible way to maybe make up time, we'd have to consider an MOU. And that would be looking at 8 days missed, and we're not quite there, obviously, on 8 days missed. So again, it's a lot of information. I just want to kind of get this into your hands and come back to you at the work session to talk about this further. But the potential makeup days would be those days listed there as April the 24th and May the 29th. We considered the Friday before President's Day. It's just too close to get that announcement to make that change. And we didn't want to do that being this close, being that holidays next week. So any questions in regards to closure and instructional time, the hours, or calamity days? Okay, thank you. So, Katie, Kenny, and I we're going to do just a quick presentation in regards to our joint entities communication plan. So, a little history here, a little bit, if you will. Over the summer last year, our joint entities, our partnership with the city, the township, parks, and the libraries, we had some conversations specifically about tax reform and some of the conversations in regard to tax reform and how that would impact our public entities. We felt like it was important as a group to be able to come together and have conversations. So there was a subcommittee that was formed in that group. That subcommittee included one administrator and one elected official. So Mrs. Dernball and I have been able to participate in that subcommittee. We met a few times to try to come up with a plan on how we can maybe work together or at least showcase some of the work that we do and sharing resources, and just to be able to share maybe a communication plan so that people can better understand how we work together amongst the joint entities. At some point in our discussions, we decided that was probably the next best step was to bring in our communication folks and to help us to come up with this plan. We originally had the kickoff scheduled for today, February the 2nd. Obviously, with the calamity days last week, it kind of put us behind, which I think the next official kickoff will be on the 9th. If I'm correct. So, again, the purpose is really to help foster communication and collaboration amongst our joint entities, to make sure that there's a connected vision, and to address some of the challenges that we may see, especially when people are having conversations about property tax and how that may impact our communities. Key objectives is to really showcase each of the things that we do within our public entities, to be able to celebrate and to collaborate, inspire community pride, and strengthen our connections within the community. Our target audience obviously is our residents, our visitors, and our community partners, as well as our leaders, community leaders. We also wanted to target our realtors. That's a group that we often talk about. Realtors help us in selling the schools, right, to people who want to move into the community and be a part of this community. And so that's another area that we wanted to make sure that we targeted, as well as elected officials and our local media outlets.
Either way. So, sorry, I'm a little short. So the mediums you can see there: direct mail, email, e-newsletters, social media, just kind of using those, each entity's website, and then local media outlets. And so we don't have, a direct mail piece created today. That's just in the pipeline kind of ideas that we have. This is just all the things that we feel like would make probably the most sense to disseminate this message as we kind of get going on the messaging. The tagline you can see to the right there. We basically, when we sat around, we kind of came up with how to do this. Trying to fit, what does it mean to be, loving the library, loving the parks, loving the school district and the the city and the township. How do we come up with something that is all encompassing? And our idea was, whether you were born here, moved here, or have moved away, a lot of people are very proud to call Centerville home, or were. People either, maybe they went here, their kids go here. And, we had a few people who said, we've had people move away who have said, we really have not been able to find what we had in Centerville in the new place that we're in. So basically it's community pride runs deep, and our tagline is proud to be, and you can see the home is underlined. The fill in the blank is basically the brand. And so as we go to the next, basically proud to be can be filled in, and we gave some words there. So proud to celebrate, proud to connect, proud to be Elks, proud to be Centerville. And each entity can take that and use it. So perhaps it's the library and theirs is proud to enrich, and perhaps the township says proud to protect. You can see the empower and support are there from our plan, which is a great thing. But essentially, when you see it, it will be a blank that you can fill in the word and kind of say, we're proud to be all of these things. You can see it there as the Proud to Be Home. But we're all excited about it. When we presented it, all the entities felt like this was a really good kind of a home run thing to come up with, and everybody's proud, hopefully, to live, work, read, play, and be here. Another thing that we are proud of is our quality profile, which doesn't have a lot to do with Proud to Be Home, but we did want to give you the quick highlights there. This is the 24-25 quality profile. It is on the website, and we can send you the link to all of that. But those are a couple quick hit highlights. Those are things that we can also talk about when we mention how we are proud to be home. This is part of our plan. Questions or comments or thoughts? So yeah, our kickoff is we are making Facebook cover pages, Instagram, everything to initially launch on Monday. So you will see it public facing, and then we're putting it all on our websites as well. So you'll see it on the library, you'll see it on the Parks District. Wherever community is housed with that entity, you'll see it right there. And it is truly kicking off there. We'd like to do a press release. I don't know right away. Being a person who worked in news for a long time, I don't know if people are going to pick it up right away, but once they start to see that brand recognition, we've got stickers we're going to do. We've talked about banners and the direct mail piece as well. I kind of likened it to, you've seen it's different, but you'll see something that someone got vaccinated and they put it on their Facebook profile page, or I support this. We kind of, our hope is that we will see Proud to Be Home, Proud to Be Elks, Proud to Be, and we can all use that. And I think you'll start to see that rolling out as it grows legs, so to speak. Thank you.
Good evening. Appreciate a couple of minutes today to explain the resolution that is on the agenda tonight for Chromebooks. There's one thing I've learned over the years for those of you that are new or haven't been involved in this process. Securing large batches of equipment sometimes becomes challenging, and I knew that as soon as we came back from break, I would start collecting and requesting quotes for the batch of Chromebooks that we would need for our typical cycle every year. We have a batch of Chromebooks that go out and a whole new batch that go into the hands of students as part of our cycle. As I collected those quotes, I grew a little bit concerned because some of them were as high as over $400 a piece. And so that represents a sizable difference in what we paid last year at around $275 a device. And so I'm here today. Fortunately, with the delay, the board meeting, I was able to secure quotes by the end of the month, which ended last week. And one of those quotes was for inventory that's already here in the United States on the floor of the warehouse. And if executed promptly, I can secure for $5 more than what we paid for last year for the same device. And so I think that is the best quote that I received from the 8 vendors that I requested quotes from. And that's the reason why I'm here earlier than I would typically be, and why I hadn't given you time in a prior work session to discuss this. And so I apologize for that, but under these conditions, I think this is a smart move for the district and a good time for us to execute this purchase, if you guys agree. Does anybody have any questions or concerns or comments? Anything about the cycle for those of you that are new to the program?
8th graders?
Every year we put in the hands of the rising 3rd graders.
Okay.
And the rising 8th graders. So that's the 2nd graders in the spring, we replace their device, and then the 7th graders who are going to be 8th graders next year get a new device, and they're expected to carry those with them for 5 years. So, what is the next level from the 280? It was up to the 400. So that was the gap. Yeah. One of the things that happens with these quotes is the first vendor who creates a project with a particular manufacturer, they get reduced pricing to with for the customer in the project. And so what happens after that is that everybody else is kind of locked out of that low price that they can get. And so fortunately, this project was still kind of locked in from last year. And so that was also part of the benefit of acting now is there was some carryover there. So especially because the device is the same device, same model that we purchased last year as well. So any other questions? No? All right. Yeah, thank you for your time tonight.
Next item is board retreat. This is Durnball.
Yes, thank you. We discussed at our organizational meeting in early January about trying to get a board retreat scheduled for the first time in at least a long time, if not the first time. And Mrs. Sparks and I were able to connect with an OSBA representative a couple weeks ago. We've come up with a tentative date of April 11th, which is a Saturday. I know there's a little bit of an afternoon conflict, so we were hoping that morning would work. And we were looking at the meeting space at the Centerville Police Department. It is available that day. I do have a contract for Mr. Wesney to take a look at and help us execute for that. They have OSBA has kind of a predetermined format for these retreats. It is, of course, a public meeting because we would all be in attendance, open to the public for sunshine law purposes. But there's a lot of discussion amongst the board, some goal setting, possible review or discussion of our self-assessment, kind of things like that. Is there anything I'm forgetting?
No, I think
that you could think of. So, if you could take a look at your calendars, maybe get back to Mrs. Sparks or myself and let us know if that date works. We're thinking 9 to noon ish.
that's around it.
Okay.
Morning's good.
Okay.
You're that with OSBA.
Great. So, yeah, we'll get that meeting space shored up, and we will be good to go on that. We do need to add it, I believe, as a regular meeting. So we need to notice, or special meeting, excuse me, so we need to notice it properly, which we have obviously plenty of time for that. Any questions?
Not the conflict. That's the winter guard
I know.
world finals. We go depending on when they perform it. I think if you come in the morning, if it was 9 to noon, it would be, I don't know. I mean, we think that they hopefully open some in the afternoon.
Is that like a finals day or? So the later the better that their performance gets queued up? Yeah. Okay.
So,
Okay. Well, we'll hope for a good showing on day one, that they get placed later in the day, and move forward from there.
we good?
Okay.
Thank you, Mrs. Durnball. Okay, Treasurer's recommendation. Consider approving the December 2025 financial statements, monthly general fund rolling report, monthly cash reconciliation, monthly fund activity report, with then and now purchase orders approved by the administration, certified by the treasurer, and supported by board resolution totaling $36,500.20. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can you call the roll, please, Ms. Sauber?
Mrs. Durnball?
Yes.
Dr. Graff? Mr. Peters? Megan Sparks?
Yes. Consider approving the minutes of the following Board of Education meetings: December 15th, 2025 work session, December 15th, 2025 regular meeting, January 8th, 2026 organizational meeting, January 20th, 2026 work session. Can I have a motion, please?
Second.
Ms. Sauber, could you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Durnball?
Yes.
Dr. Graff? Mr. Peters? Megan Sparks?
Yes. Superintendent's recommendation, personal attention note, HR pages dated January 20th.
Because the school one we canceled last week, and so the pages haven't changed, but they'll be approved tonight on October the 2nd versus January 26th.
Thank you. Okay, so going forward, the superintendent recommends accepting resignations as listed on Schedule A. The superintendent recommends the employment, change of employment status, or change of contract status for the certificate personnel listed on Schedule B for the salaries, programs, and on the effective dates given. The superintendent recommends the employment or change of employment status for the support staff personnel listed on Schedule C for the salaries, programs, and on the effective date given. The superintendent recommends the employment of the personnel listed on Schedules D and D1 for supplemental contracts or extra duty assignments. And the superintendent recommends the granting of leave of absence for the personnel listed on Schedule E for the reasons and on the date given. Can I have a motion, please?
Second.
Ms. Sauber, could you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Dernblock? Yes. Dr. Graff? Yes. Mr. Peters?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes. Okay, consider approving a new behavior tech classified pay schedule for the 2025-2026 for any new hires after January 26, 2026. May I have a motion, please?
Second.
Ms. Sauber, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Dernblock? Yes. Dr. Graff?
Yes.
Mr. Peters?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes. Considered approving the 2026-2027 classified pay packet, index, and schedules. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Ms. Sauber, could you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Dernblock? Yes. Dr. Graff?
Yes.
Mr. Peters? Megan Sparks?
Yes. Consider approving an increase for substitute teacher pay to $145 per day effective February 2nd, 2026. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Sauber, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Dernblock? Yes. Dr. Graff?
Yes.
Mr. Peters? Megan Sparks?
Yes. Consider approving a resolution to join the Ohio Purchasing Council, the TOPSI, TOPSI, for procurement purposes. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second. That was in regards to a very specific business. It's been too long since the work
It
session.
was a work session, so yes,
It
it's
was for the,
Prodigy, the PPN roof,
that was it.
yeah.
Because
so-
they were a newer vendor, a different vendor for us that went through a different purchasing.
Correct, we utilized them in the past, but not for any roofing, but be part of that, we need to join purchasing so often. But that's the third part of it, the second, piece on there, the second resolution is just going ahead and approving the fund for that roof replacement, we cover those ones.
And there's no cost to join the
So
council.
call it, yeah, no cost for that.
We have a motion. We did. Okay, could you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Dernblock? Yes. Dr. Graff?
Yes.
Mr. Peters?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes. Consider approving a resolution to approve the PBN roof replacement project for Prodigy Building Solutions at the total cost of $407,856.13 through the Top C Purchasing Cooperative.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Father, could you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Dernblock?
Yes.
Dr. Graff?
Yes.
Mr. Peters? Megan Sparks?
Yes. Consider approving a resolution declaring certain items of personal property obsolete and unneeded and authorizing the superintendent or his designee to sell the personal property. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Sauber, could you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Dernblock?
Yes.
Dr. Graff?
Yes.
Mr. Peters? Megan Sparks?
Yes. Consider approving changes to the following Board of Education policies. 5136 personal communication devices. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Any conversation about this? Okay, I just want to say from the beginning, I thought children should be able to have their phones during lunch. And Mr. Carroll was supposed to come back with us with more information. So that's my 2 cents out there. Okay, can I have the roll call, please?
Mrs. Dernblock?
No.
Dr. Graff?
Yes.
Mr. Peters?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
So, okay, consider purchasing 1,400 Acer Chromebooks 511 from CDWG, who provided the lowest quote for $436,100. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have the roll call, please?
Mrs. Dernbaugh?
Yes.
Dr. Graff?
Yes.
Mr. Peters? Megan Sparks?
Yes. Final comments regarding past or old business from the Board of Education. I just want to say congratulations to Titus, who got into the Air Force Academy.
Right.
So very impressive. We're very proud of you, Titus. So, anything else? Okay. Where's the?
We don't have an executive session.
Oh, so I just declared adjourned.
We have to motion.
Motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Can I have the roll call, please?
Mrs. Dernbaugh?
Yes.
Dr. Graff?
Yes.
Mr. Peters? Megan Sparks?
Yes.